For me, the Care Bears have always been a personal guilty pleasure of mine, having been an enjoyer of them for pretty much my whole life. I used to have quite a large plush collection with over a dozen bears in it. In fact, one of the earliest toys I had as a toddler was a Funshine bear that came with a DVD that had an episode of the 80s series on it. And seeing as how I was born in the early 2000s, this was the generation of Care Bears that I grew up with. So you best believe that you're going to listen to me ramble about this particular generation for however long this video is, I don't know. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, and enjoy, I guess. To recap, the Care Bears franchise first launched in 1982. The first 10 bears consisted of Bedtime Bear, Birthday Bear, Cheer Bear, Friend Bear, Funshine Bear, Good Luck Bear, Love-A-Lot Bear, Tenderheart Bear, Wish Bear, and of course everybody's favorite, Grumpy Bear. These 10 were the OGs of the franchise. They're pretty much their own equivalent to the original 151 Pokemon, basically. Specifically, the bears were created by the greeting card company American Greetings' character division, Those Characters from Cleveland, or TCFC for short, which was already well known for creating the Strawberry Shortcake franchise. And throughout the 80s, the Care Bears got really huge, being able to rival similar franchises like My Little Pony, Strawberry Shortcake, and the Get Along Gang. The franchise saw so much success that it got a theatrical movie. It actually got two. But after the 80s ended, their popularity began to rapidly dwindle. All they got in the 90s was a Care About the Environment line in 1991. And the plush line in that generation was, I'm just gonna say it, abysmal! Basically, not a whole lot of people found these bears very appealing. They were so unappealing, in fact, that they put the franchise in limbo for the rest of the 20th century. And then 2002 struck. 2002 was a pretty big deal, because that's when the Care Bears celebrated their 20th anniversary. And after 11 years in limbo, the bears were dug up from the dead by the company Play Along. The first thing they did to celebrate the relaunch was making special 20th anniversary plushes. Although, I personally think these bears kind of look like a mix between the 80s and 2000s lines, but then again, I guess that's what they were going for. But those 20th anniversary bears were only the beginning, because Play Along decided to shake things up a little more. And one thing they did was they gender reassigned Funshine Bear. To those who don't know, back in the 80s, Funshine was female, but was retconned to male for the Play Along relaunch. Unfortunately, this led to a bit of a problem. In terms of the 10 core bears, there were now 4 girls and 6 boys. So, we have to get rid of one. But who do we get rid of? Now, we can't get rid of Tenderheart because he's the leader. We can't get rid of Grumpy Bear either because he's too popular, plus he plays a vital role. We can't get rid of Good Luck Bear because we still need a green guy in this rainbow. And Bedtime Bear, I guess because he's just too chill to leave. So... sorry, Birthday Bear! Thankfully, they didn't straight up delete Birthday Bear entirely. He was still around, he just wasn't a main character anymore. And in Birthday's old empty slot, they plopped down Share Bear, who's been a part of the franchise since 1985. But like most other things, Share Bear had to change a little. You see, Share Bear's belly badge used to be a pink milkshake with 2 straws poking out of it. But Play Along decided to change it to a pair of pink and blue crisscrossing lollipops. Why did they make this totally random change? Well, according to Play Along...
Yo, it is us, Play Along. And the reason we changed Share Bear's belly badge from a milkshake to a pair of lollipops was because we're germaphobes. Don't you know that sharing milkshakes, or any drink in general, can spread germs? And we don't want these Care Bears running around trying to create another worldwide epidemic. So, we had to change it to lollipops to make it safer for the kitties, I guess.
But regardless, Cheer, Love-A-Lot, Tenderheart, Friend, Funshine, Good Luck, Wish, Bedtime, Grumpy, and Cher were probably the 10 best bears to go with to relaunch the franchise into the 21st century. Now, on to one of my favorite pieces of Care Bears merchandise. The main attraction of the relaunch was this line where they took the 13-inch plush bears and packaged them alongside a videotape containing either 1 or 2 episodes of the 1986 cartoon The Care Bears Family. So the way I see it, you're getting 2 goodies for the price of 1. For the most part, the tapes contained episodes specifically centered around the bear that the tape came with. And at the end of every tape was a commercial for the plush line. But what's actually pretty ominous about this is the fact that they don't even tell you about the commercial anywhere on the tape's box. So could you imagine being a kid watching one of these tapes and not knowing that? So, for example, let's say you're watching one of these tapes and you get to the credits. It's all fun and happy, there's the Nelvana logo, then the screen goes black. And then, suddenly...
Who needs a Care Bear hug?
Yeah! Hi, please don't eat me! Listen, I get it was the early 2000s. CGI wasn't so great back then, but... I don't know, this animation somehow looks even worse than it did in Journey to Joke-A-Lot. Thankfully, the rest of the commercial is actually pretty cute and wholesome, and it plays a nice little song that I can't play because it's copyrighted. You can look it up yourself if you want, though. After the commercial, they then play a trailer for the first Care Bears movie. 17 years after it came out. For a comparison, that would be like if Nickelodeon advertised the first SpongeBob movie right after an episode from season 13. But then again, the episodes on those tapes were just as old as the movie, so I probably shouldn't judge. The rest of the merchandise was also pretty solid. The plush line came in 13-inch, 10-inch, and 8-inch beanies. I myself have a whole bunch of bears in the 10-inch line. 15 to be exact. They also released a whole bunch of books containing a bunch of little wholesome short stories. I've actually been trying to find the storybook treasury in thrift stores for a while because I want to read them to Valerie at night. They also had a few games. The one on screen right now was from a game called A Lesson in Caring, which was released on the V-Smile? And there were 2 direct-to-video movies released in 2004 and 2005, respectively. One of which was about Funshine running away from Care-A-Lot and becoming the king of the circus. And the other was about Wish Bear and her little star pet going around unintentionally wreaking havoc until 3 hillbillies show up and snatch her pet, but then immediately give it back. There was also a live show somewhere in there, which was produced by V Corporation. And also a crocheting kit. Jeez, how much was there in this generation? But there is one last thing I want to talk about. Nitpicks. Because, let's face it, we all have nitpicks about just about every piece of media there is. So one time, I was going through the website TV Tropes, and they actually made a claim that Grumpy Bear was taken out of the franchise for this generation. Apparently, the reason for this was because Grumpy Bear was supposed to star in his own spin-off merch line exclusively at Hot Topic. That's quite a claim to make there, considering it's not true. Okay, TV Tropes, tell me this. If Grumpy Bear did not exist in the 2000s relaunch, then who is this? What about this? Or hey, even this? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this isn't Indifference Bear or something. My other little nitpick is about the leader of the bears himself, Tenderheart. Sometimes he's brown, and other times he's orange. So, which is it, TCFC? Oh, he's brown. Well, I guess that answers that. This generation would go on until 2007, when the franchise was relaunched yet again with drastically different designs. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the Care Bears franchise as a whole, my childhood generation will always be my favorite. But hey, I guess maybe it's just because I'm a sucker for the 2000s in general. But it was still pretty fun rambling about a core part of my childhood that I seldom ever bring up on this channel. Well, thanks for watching. Maybe next time I might deep dive into either 2000s Nickelodeon or Nintendo. We'll have to wait and see.